Hey everyone, Freddie Michaels from The Harder Critic, where we do not so deep dives into movies. Today we have Marcus Nisbel's 2009 Friday the 13th. But before we get into the overall synopsis, review, and rating, please like, share, and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get into it. So, why didn't I review the 1-2 punch of the 1980 and 1981 alleged classics? Because Kevin Bacon's penis aside, what are we even looking at? Those movies are horrible. Buddy doesn't even have the mask until the fourth installment, and the first one isn't even him. It's Mom Dukes. To be honest, I believe people that are fans of the Friday the 13th franchise are simply fans on namesake alone. Essentially, being a fan of this collection of bottom-feeder horror iconography is basically like being a fan of a sports team because they have a really, really cool mascot. Yes, the character Jason is cool and he looks dope as hell, but objectively, his movies are horrible. You want a synopsis for any Jason movie? Okay, here we go. A group of people, no, adult-age teenagers, go into the woods. Known woods with a known cerebral killer, and they all do dumb horror movie stupid shit like piss in the dark and have tent sex with a human killing machine that has a body count north of the great and supple Ava Devine and eventually die. Or Jason Goes to Space. It really just varies. Why do we even bother with this franchise? It's no coincidence that it's been 16 years since the last sign of this burnout pillar of the horror community. Yet here we are. And to be honest, I already said the damn synopsis, but for the sake of all that is good and righteous, I'll say it again. I mean, that repetitious way of scripting should feel right at home for you fans of this goddamn franchise. Okay, I hate this, but whatevs. A group of teenagers take a vacation at a lake house, and you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but it's Crystal Lake. Jason eventually ends up unplugging them from their life sockets one by one before a wicked title drop, where we get yet another adult group, but this time with teenage-like hair, so it's original. We're introduced to Clay, the protagonist, who's looking for his sister that went missing in the woods. I love how the director establishes that everyone in the area is already aware of Jason, and also that this apex killer uses tunnels and is territorial, giving him somewhat a motive and personality to his stoicism. And while I would normally name other characters and actors involved in this film, to be honest, this is a F-13 movie, so most of the cast are archetypes and cannon fodder for Jason to kill in just some of the wickedest ways ever. We get all of the late 80s, early 90s tropes: the douchebag, the useless friend, inclusivity, the eye candy ditzy blonde, the token black eye, and the love interest. And they add nothing to the plot at all. But what is plot when Jason is setting traps, firing arrows from a bow, and forced nudity? So like most adult teens in the woods looking for their lost siblings, these fuckers find a hut that clearly belongs to the killer, or whatever dangerous person in the area living off the land that would still kill you for trespassing on their property lives. They basically find the same thing that the characters in Jeepers Creepers and Wrong Turn found, which honestly is just enough dark shit for me to get the fuck out of there at a pace where Jason could never catch me. Oh my gosh. We then get an amazing exposition dump without any words from our antagonist, which is genius from the director. It's here where we find out that Clay's sister isn't dead but held captive because she resembles Jason's mother, Pamela Voorhees. Honestly, this movie gives TCM vibes with all of the best parts of the first 4 installments of the Friday the 13th franchise. The director then unapologetically lets this group of adult teenagers do adult teenager things like party in the woods in their extremely expensive lake house, and in Jason-like fashion, we get a killing montage of him dispatching of these Nepo babies from about the 56-minute mark all the way to the end of the 97-minute movie. And normally, this senseless violence would make me shave points, but to be honest, Jason Voorhees is a senseless killer, so it's par for the course. Say hi to mommy and not ensuring that Jason goes into the entire meat grinder aside, the movie does exactly what you'd want it to do, until establishing that this isn't human Jason in a very sinister-like cheesy jump scare at the end. He bursts out of the water insinuating that this is actually supernatural Jason. So, what are the pros? Well, objectively, this movie looks amazing, and that's because they pulled from the genius that already worked on TCM. As shown in the backdrops of the topography, this movie feels like the first village part of RE4. It's an underrated remake, honestly. This is the best Jason, not whack-ass Pamela Voorhees. This is badass Jason with the hockey mask, 6'5", 250 pounds of muscle, trap setting, bow wielding, and zero backstory. Jason, thank you God. And honestly, the movie pulls the best parts of the first 4 installments while adding redeemable and sympathetic characters that make you care and root for them, which is rare in an F-13 movie. They also found a decent way to humanize Jason, and normally I'd rip this shit to shreds, but for once they added a layer to this flat character, giving him sympathy and making sense for his teleportation by saying he uses underground tunnels, which is a plus. So, what are the cons? Well, it's Friday the 13th. Simply put, F-13 is the Fast series of horror. This franchise has been giving you the same movie for 5 decades. Poorly written comic relief and cliche asshole archetypes. Matter of fact, everything is cliche in this film. The movie peaks in high school, meaning the beginning 30 minutes of the film are the best parts of the movie. The movie doesn't stick the landing at all, especially when you factor in the last jump scare, if you want to call it that. I feel like Jason was a bit of a mixed bag. Like, is this supernatural zombie Jason or is it human Jason? And I only ask this because of the ending. And with all of that being said, when you think of Jason, this needs to be the Jason you think of, not those other shit movies prior. The added exposition into the character not only gives him a horror Rambo feel, but it just makes him even more badass, and that's saying a lot. This movie subverted my expectations due to the very flawed and careless iterations before it, but compared to horror movies that we're getting today, it really shows how the early 2000s struck gold with multiple titles, and this one is no different. We're not coming to see a Scorsese when we watch a Friday the 13th movie. We're coming to see adult teens run into a buzzsaw of a killing machine, and this movie gives you just that, down to the final seconds of the film. Friday the 13th, the remake, is an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment on what you thought about the video or any movie that you would like to see me review next. As always, be well, and I'll see you soon.